Hey everyone, welcome back to the Glass Seats podcast. This is our show where two hockey aficionados discuss their perspectives on headlines surrounding the NHL, including recent stories, game highlights, league culture, and other topics trending amongst the fans. This is Viddy.
And my name is Mrinal, and this week in hockey, are you ready to overanalyze an entire team season based on 3 games?
Of course, that's what we all do.
The regular season is underway,
We
and
are back, baby.
And reactions are already off the wall.
Yep.
So buckle in. We're going to have 30 minutes of us overanalyzing things because it's fun.
Yeah,
and this is what fans do.
Let's stir the pot. Let's be part of the problem.
Let's start with the number 1 pick, center extraordinaire, Connor Bedard.
Yep. If you hadn't heard enough about him already, he has been impressive.
Is it too early to say best Connor in the league?
Yes. Yes. It is. It's been, what, 2 games? 3 games?
3 games.
3 games, yeah.
But hey, 3 points in 3 games.
Yeah, it is better than the other Connor, I guess. Yeah, he's been great. He's been extraordinary. He's been really helping out, like, on ice. Like, his presence is known. You can see that already. Like, defensemen from the other team are kind of not trapping him like it's a playoffs or anything, but they're alert.
Did you see Brad Marchand try to steal him?
No. What do you mean?
There's a video where they're both going for a line change, and Marchand wraps his stick around him and drifts him towards the Bruins bench.
Yeah. Steal that, yeah.
No. The Bruins need a center. You're coming with us.
Yeah, we got 2 guys retired. We need you.
I think that's a welcome to the NHL when Brad Marchand starts messing with you.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? Good for him. Like, and I'm sure like he took it on the chin. But yeah, he's been impressive, and even the goals he scored have been high effort goals. You know, obviously it's not just empty net stuff. It's like I don't know if you saw the goal he scored, but the wraparound and it was a second attempt and stuff. Yeah, great goal. And
honestly, it's more impressive to me has been in the playmaking. Some of those passes he makes are insane.
Insane. Yeah, like even I can't remember if it was preseason or not, but there was one behind the back pass, no look.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this kid is special.
Like, I think, if you're playing like the NHL game and like what skills he has, the one that stands out to me is the saucer pass.
Yes.
He's so good at it.
Yes. Yeah. And the thing is, me personally, I also think it's annoying when analysts will just like overhype someone and all you hear about is, Connor Bedard or like years ago, it was just Connor McDavid this, Connor McDavid that, comparing him to Crosby. They tried to make a Brandon Manning versus Connor McDavid feud at some point, which was unbelievable to me. The guy who broke Connor McDavid's collarbone.
Yes.
Yeah. I was
that's how irrelevant was. I forgot who that guy was.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, like, we're really making a feud out of this, like, just to like get some clicks with Connor McDavid's name. The thing is, though, I think Connor Bedard so far has honestly earned this title. Yeah. He has been good.
And they tried it a little bit, like with the first game was against Pittsburgh, right? Yeah. So they had Crosby versus Bedard.
Yeah.
But like Bedard himself is just not the type of guy to be feuding.
Yeah.
He's just like, hey guys, happy to be here.
Yeah. You know what he reminds me of? When Tom Holland entered Civil War as Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That's what he reminds me of.
What's up, guys?
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Hey, guys. Yeah. And you know what? Good for him. I think that's the mentality he needs to have. And I saw somewhere he was getting like kind of flamed for not having personality, but I think you kind of need to do that. You tread lightly in the NHL.
He's also 18, right?
Yeah.
He's probably nervous. I can see a personality coming out.
Yeah.
And like, Matthews didn't he have that too? Like
he was like very reserved. Yeah.
Yeah. But now he's like this big personality with a little stash and everything. And like,
and if you don't like it, screw you kind of mentality.
Yeah.
So, yep.
So, I mean, I think his personality will come out. At least I should say, I hope it comes out in the future.
Yeah.
Because we don't need another Crosby or McDavid.
Yeah.
Just cardboard.
Yeah. And speaking of, that's a great segue. Edmonton's not been great so far, huh?
I don't know what you're talking about.
What do you mean?
The first game didn't happen.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What about the other one where they still lost? To the same team.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
They're roasting me for being high on them in the preview.
Yeah, but
I'm absolutely 2 games in and I'm getting toasted already.
Yeah, well, I told you. We also said that, like we gave our predictions early. Vegas is off to a hot start. They're already like, 12 goals in or something like that, 3 games.
Like what? They're like, what hangover?
Yeah. I think they're running it back. But yeah, point is, Vancouver's been looking good. Vancouver's been looking stellar against them, and Edmonton's been looking not great. And I'm trying to figure out why, honestly.
I mean, I can tell you why.
McDavid's getting shut down?
No, it's Thatcher Demko.
Really?
Yeah. Did you watch that first game?
Like, I mean, he was good, but like he was also
lights out good.
He was sick too, which is strange.
Yeah, which is insane.
Yeah.
To think about. But like at least goaltending seems to be back.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask you, actually. Is this legit for Vancouver? They're just hot right now.
I don't know, because we're overanalyzing the hell out of this. It's 3 games in, and we've seen this with Buffalo many a times where they are scorching hot to the top of the league, and then they don't even make the playoffs by then. But by end of April.
Like, it's the hallmark of like a fringe team, right?
Yes.
Hot October in a playoff spot in like at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And then they kind of fizzle out in the new year.
Yeah.
Until
at some point they'll go on some ridiculous 10-game winning streak. Everyone will be talking about them.
Yeah.
And then we'll see. So it's way too early to tell.
But I mean, Brock Besser scoring 4 goals was
that
pretty
is
cool.
Good. That is good. Yeah. And there was all the trade rumors of like, are we shipping out JT Miller? Are we shipping out Brock Besser? Elias Pettersson.
See, this is the thing, right? This could be long-term bad for Vancouver, right? Like, what if they don't ship out these players and, like you said, they fall off and don't make the playoffs? Are they going to miss out on
them at the deadline, right?
What if they fall off at post-deadline? It could be something like they're in a playoff spot deadline. Maybe they buy, and then they miss the playoffs by 1 spot or 2 spots. And now next year they're bad again.
I don't know. I think people are still... Brock Besser is like a name that he has established himself in previous seasons, and he kind of maybe had like a little bit of a slump last year. Maybe the past 2 years.
The whole team had a slump last year.
Yeah, past 2 years. But this is a lightning hot way to make a statement on the opening at night too. With 4 goals. That's insane. So I think people are like paying attention again. You know what I mean? I think it was just a slump. So even though it's the same way Tampa way overpaid for Tanner Jeannot.
Oh yeah, 3 picks for Tanner Jeannot.
Yeah. So like people are still going to remember Brock Besser, the name Brock Besser at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
So I think they'll be fine in terms of regardless of where his production is. So,
okay. So don't think they should take the chance to rebuild now?
No,
just ride it out.
Clearly, something is working, and I think their coaching staff has been like generally pretty good too. Not just the goalie stuff, but
it's Rick Tocchet now, right?
Yeah, I think so. And yeah, it's been good, and like clearly something is working. It's obviously 2 games in, but like you took down an Edmonton team with Connor McDavid twice, and once was by a touchdown.
Yeah.
So, and with a sick goalie, literally sick goalie.
So let me flip you this question: what's wrong with Edmonton?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Leon has looked fine to me.
Yeah, Leon. He had the 1 goal in the first game.
Yeah. McDavid has looked not his best, but he's looked okay. I don't know. Maybe this is the 2-team thing that we were talking. 2-person team.
If you are the head coach of the Edmonton Oilers, are you starting Jack Campbell or Stuart Skinner?
Skinner. I think Skinner.
They started Jack Campbell in the first game.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they pulled him.
Yes. So Skinner.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's the biggest problem.
They started Jack Campbell.
They have a goalie that can't save a beach ball. Yeah. And he wasn't good with last year with Edmonton either.
Yeah.
And they were like kind of hoping, it's an adjustment year. Maybe he'll figure it out.
Yeah. But this is what I said. You got to start trusting Stuart Skinner, right?
Yeah.
That he's going to improve.
Yes.
Because I think Skinner has room to improve, right?
Yeah.
Campbell is Campbell at this point.
Yeah. I don't remember. There was definitely, I believe it was on the Sharks that had a goalie tandem that was just, both of them were both so bad that they didn't really know who was starting. I think it was Reimer and Jones, maybe?
No, I don't think they ever played together. What year are you talking about? Last year?
I can't remember. There was a goalie tandem in the past couple years, 2-3 years, where it was Jones and somebody else, and they couldn't decide who was the starter anymore.
Jones and Dell.
Jones and Dell, yes, that was the one. Yeah, Jones and Dell, and they couldn't figure out who the starter was anymore because they were both bad.
Yeah, this was like in 2019.
This is verbatim what is happening in Edmonton right now. But they're both not looking great.
I still have hope for Stuart Skinner. I think Jones and Dell, we didn't have hope for either of them.
You don't have hope for Campbell?
I think Campbell is what Campbell is. He is a backup that will occasionally get hot.
Oh, damn. So he got signed to a starter contract based off a good year in Toronto?
Yeah. Based off, he had a good like end of the year in LA, went to Toronto, had a decent year, got that contract in Edmonton. I think
sounds like Jones, honestly.
At some point, I think Campbell will get hot. He'll give you a good streak in like January, February.
Yeah.
Maybe. So I think has value,
right,
of being on a roster. I don't think you should be getting rid of him.
Yes,
but
January, February is like far away, and if you're not in a playoff spot, like what good is a hot streak going to do at that point?
Like if that's what I'm saying, you got to start trusting Stuart Skinner.
I see. Okay.
You know?
I see.
And we're going to get into this, but the goalie conversation in NHL is where the heat is right now.
Yes. Yeah. There's a lot.
Yeah. Do you want to actually get to that?
Yeah. Let's go to that real quick.
Yeah. So who was the goalie we kept talking about potentially moving?
Well, it was Hellebuck.
And Winnipeg took the wind out of everybody's sails.
Yeah. So much for that.
Mark Scheifele and Connor Hellebuck.
Exact contracts.
2 new contracts in Winnipeg. $8.5 million cap hit for the next 7 years.
Yeah. Identical. Yeah.
Yeah. So no movement clause for the first 3 years. Modified no trade clause for the rest, where they can provide a 10-team no trade list. So
I'm surprised by this.
Yeah, all the talk we said about maybe Winnipeg should think about rebuilding, Winnipeg just went no.
No, yeah. And I thought the reason I'm surprised by this is I know Scheifele's love for Winnipeg has been very public. I thought Hellebuck borderline requested a trade.
Yeah, he did. And then at the end of last year, he was talking about, no, I want out. And then I remember Friedman going into like training camp this year was like, maybe they'll work it out. And it seems like they worked it out.
Like what, money talks type of deal, or
maybe they convinced him that we're actually going to go for it. But if you look at this roster,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I was like, what? Unless they all are wearing Golden Knights jerseys, this roster's not making a cup final.
Like, there's pieces, right? Mark Scheifele, Kyle Connor Hellebuck,
right? But
it's the decor, right? That's questionable.
Yeah,
I was looking at their decor the other day, and I'm like, if this was like 3 years ago, this decor would be stacked.
Yes.
But they're all players that were like really good like 3 years ago.
Yeah. And so, what do they need then? You think they need elite defensemen and offensive defensemen?
I mean, they have a decent amount of back end offense. Like Josh Morrissey, Neil Pionk can do it. They just haven't unlocked that recently.
Wasn't Morrissey nominated for...
No, I don't think he got the nomination, but
he didn't? Okay.
He was, with fans, he was circling.
Okay.
His name was circling.
I see.
His nickname was Josh Norrisy in Winnipeg last year.
Smart, yeah.
Yeah, but, I think they need just help on the D. Like, I wouldn't say offense or defense, but, maybe someone like a puck mover, like not someone I'd expect to like score points, but I'd have to take a look and see what D-men are available, but like, just from this past offseason, if they had been in on like Matt Dumba or John Klingberg.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, don't you think one of those two would have helped out this D line?
With the Klingberg contract in Toronto, I still think he's trade bait. To be totally honest, I don't see him re-signing in Toronto. But
I don't know. The decor in Toronto is a whole other thing.
Yeah,
but
that's we can have a whole episode on that. But yeah, like I don't know. I think. For me, I'm still struggling to understand. I thought Winnipeg was trying to go get a little bit of a head start on this rebuild, and the amount of assets they could have got for both Scheifele and Hellebuck, that would have maybe completed their rebuild.
I think they should have. Like, this is the question, right? And they signed them for 7 years. Within those 7 years, do you see Winnipeg as a cup contender?
Maybe. I don't know. 7 years is a while.
It's a big fat maybe, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely not this year.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like it, especially now with the current roster. Blake Wheeler went away.
And Scheifele and Hellebuck are only going to get worse.
Yeah.
They're both like 30-ish.
Right. That's another thing. This is a big contract for 30-something-year-olds, right? Yeah. Like, I don't know. Again, they're confirmed for the first 3 years, each of them.
No movement clause.
Right. Yeah. But after that...
Maybe that's the question. Winnipeg has to win within 3 years. Right?
Yes.
Because then after that, you can probably trade them.
But those are that's a big value and big term to trade away, right? Like,
I mean, someone will take him. You get someone to retain. Look at what Vegas does, right? You pull in a third team to retain. Yeah. You chuck in some prospect, whatever. You can manage a trade.
Carlson was dealt for $10 million a year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay, fair enough.
Like, you figure it out.
Yeah.
Get freaking some bottom feeder team to hold a bunch of salary.
Arizona.
Right?
Yeah.
Arizona, Anaheim, whoever's sucking at that particular year. Yeah. Right? Because in 3 years, maybe it's not those teams anymore. But
I guess so then. They have pieces, but I don't see them as a cup contender in 3 years. I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't really.
I feel like this is like Cheveldayoff trying to save his job or something. Like someone somewhere, just because they made the playoffs last year, thinks that this is a cup contending team.
Yeah.
But I don't see it unless you make some drastic moves within the next 3 years.
Yeah.
But you're going to have a harder time doing that because you just tied up 8.5 million times 2.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, I could understand 8.5 million for both these players. I can see 8.5 mil. I can see 9 mil and 3-year terms.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just keep it all the way to the no movement clause. Obviously, at that point, you don't really have leverage to trade them. They can just walk.
Yeah.
But you have 4 more years.
That would have made sense.
Yeah,
the plan would have made sense.
Yeah.
Right? It would have been very clear. We're going for a cup in 3 years.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. I don't know. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of when players were getting shipped out left and right from San Jose, and then Hurl got an 8-year extension. Like, they're like, what? And now we're both kind of, not that they're bad players by any means, not saying Scheifele or Hellebuck are bad players. Quite the opposite.
But that's the thing, they have potential to be.
Yes.
And as a general manager, your job is evaluating potential, right?
Yes. And I really hate to say it, Hurl is one of my favorite players, but we should have traded him.
Yeah.
We should have traded him for assets. But
you don't think Boston would have taken Tomas Hurl right now?
Of course they would have, yeah. They would have loved to have him. So,
yeah.
And I think Hurl might have been happier there too, personally. But
I don't know if Hurl has a no trade clause, but
either way, the signing for that long of a term didn't make sense to me, and it's not making sense here. Obviously, maybe Winnipeg has some master grand plan that we don't know about.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, with Hellebuck tied up, there's a bunch of teams that are still in the market for a goalie.
Yeah.
So, I mean, who do you think is targeted now, right? Because Tampa needs a goalie because Vasi's out for about 10 weeks.
I think they'll be able to hold off.
The new guy's questionable.
Of course. But somehow Tampa has, somehow just Vasi was a backup to Ben Bishop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And all of a sudden he just turned into God as soon as he got that star position. Something about Tampa's system with goalies has been good. Even when they were like having, what's his name? Louis Domingue, I think.
Yeah. Curtis McElhinney.
Yeah. Not necessarily, historically not stellar goalies. And they held their ground in Tampa. I mean, when you have Victor Hedman and all these other players, it's a little bit easier.
When you have that decor in front of you?
Yes, it's a little bit easier, but I think Tampa will be fine just based on how stacked that team is.
So then let's go to the other side. LA needs a goalie, potentially.
Yeah.
Edmonton needs a goalie, potentially, if Skinner doesn't work out.
I think Edmonton needs it more, to be honest.
Calgary has Markstrom's looked good, but has been shaky in the past.
Yeah.
Minnesota, Gustafson's looked good, but has been shaky in the past. So there's teams that need goalies.
Yeah.
So you think John Gibson?
Yes. Because for me personally, excluding maybe like players such as Fowler, Zegras, Gibson seems leagues above the current Anaheim team. I mean, in terms of skill level.
Yes and no. I think it's hard to say because you look at his past couple seasons, he hasn't been like dominant.
Yes, but look at the team. Yeah. Like, what do you?
Gibson's also expensive.
What's his term? I don't remember.
I can look that up, but it's over $5 million.
Oh, okay.
For over 4 years.
Yeah, and for reference, for most goalies, usually goalies aren't getting paid that much more because usually goalies are also shipped out and shipped in pretty easily. So to have a franchise goalie, it's quite a lot.
Yeah, like Vasilevsky and Price were anomalies.
Yeah.
John Gibson has a cap hit of $6.4 million for the next 4 years.
Yeah, that is expensive for a goalie. It's not crazy, but it is for a goalie. It's expensive, yes, because you need skaters as well. And I don't know if there's a team that's trying
also 30.
Yeah, but if there's a team that's trying to go all in, like I would say, if Winnipeg is trying to go all in on 3 years, but obviously they just signed a goalie for those 3 years, I don't know. So I think John Gibson, in my opinion, is currently will become the most sought after goalie in terms of like a team that wants to make a deep playoff run.
I think there's another name we should throw in there, which is Karel Vejmelka from Arizona.
Really?
He had a great season last year. And Arizona's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Arizona might go to Houston, but...
Yeah. Arizona's not going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
So why not?
Yeah.
If you are a team that's looking to sell a goalie, this is the time to do it.
Yeah.
People are desperate right now.
Yes. Yeah. But what's his cap hit is probably not very high because he's a relatively newish goalie in the NHL.
Yeah. But Melka has a 2.725 cap hit for the next 2 years.
See, that's definitely a lot more affordable, a lot more movable. Yeah, I guess so. What are you looking for? Are you looking for almost like guaranteed elite, like proven talent with
No.
Gibson, or are you looking for something that's a little bit more affordable and rental? Like
For the teams like LA and Edmonton, I'm looking for a goalie that will give me consistent league average goaltending and let the rest of my stacked team shine. I don't want a goalie that'll push me over the edge. I want a goalie that won't crater my team.
yeah, then Corral might be the better option in terms of John Gibson, just because of the cap hit alone.
Yeah, and it's better cap management that way, right?
Yeah.
You've already, like, LA's gone all in on forward depth. So is Edmonton.
Yeah, they got PLD. They got, well, I guess Doughty. The Doughty contract is eating up quite a lot too.
Yeah,
Kopitar got an extension. I mean, yeah, they're pretty offense heavy.
Yeah. So then you got to compromise somewhere in a flat cap world, right?
Mhm.
So then goaltending, you want cheap and reliable.
Yes.
That's all you want.
Yeah.
You don't need elite.
Yeah. That is true. I mean, is LA's goalie situation that bad though right now?
It's questionable, right?
Okay.
It's Cam Talbot and Phoenix Copley.
So streaky, both of them. Yeah.
And last year they went out and got Corpusalo, which really
moved
helped.
on, yeah.
But then he went to Ottawa.
Yeah.
So they need someone like, honestly, if they'd kept Corpusalo, I think they'd be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But he might have wanted too much or too much term.
Yeah. Yeah. In that case, yeah, Corral is their best bet.
Yeah. The other name that's been thrown around because he's in Toronto is Martin Jones.
Yeah. I'm also just so biased. I don't think he's had a good season since leaving San Jose. Like, he's been fine, I guess, as a backup.
Like, everyone was talking about Seattle season last year, but neither goalie was over 900 save percentage.
Yeah, I was like, they were fine, I guess. But like, Martin Jones is, you don't know what you're getting with Martin Jones really anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you might have like a god tier goalie. You might have a guy who can't stop a puck to save his life.
Yeah, he's either elite or he's a massive crater in your team.
So is that a risk you're willing to take? That's up to the GM, I guess.
But Martin Jones actually intrigues me for Tampa. Like, you need someone for a couple of weeks while Vassie's out. Martin Jones.
And then what?
And then Vassie's back.
So you're just going to keep him on in the meantime?
Yeah, waive him, trade him again. Who cares?
Okay. Fair enough. I think his term is like $1 million or something right now. Maybe two. Like, maybe less.
He's playing in the AHL right now for Toronto.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh,
what do you care you do with him?
That's fair. I had no idea he went to the minors. Okay.
Yeah.
Dang, that's quite a fall from grace. Jeez. Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you need something really quick and affordable, I guess Martin Jones is an option. But yeah, there's a lot of goalie options we can go through, but I don't know. In my opinion, John Gibson is the most reliable.
Mm-hmm.
And Corral, it might be like the best in terms of
stability.
Yeah, stability and cheap, I guess. Yeah. So
we shall see.
Yeah.
I'm keeping an eye on the goalie market the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. There's a lot of, we think there's going to be a lot of change going around. So
yeah. We got one more story to end here. Yeah. And I hate that we have to keep talking about this.
Yeah. It's, I think when we first started this podcast, this is one of our first topics. And the fact that we're still talking about it months later.
Yeah.
It just it makes my blood boil a little bit. Not going to lie.
But what we're talking about here, NHL has banned the use of pride tape in any scenarios.
Which people, if they don't know, is on warm-ups, like there's obviously the black tape, which is like regulation, that is required. Mm-hmm. During warm-ups, though, you can just use the rainbow tape. Just so it support the evening, support the occasion. It's been banned.
Yeah, so actually, I want to correct you there. By regulation, black tape is not required.
Really? In
the NHL rule book, players are allowed to use tape of any color. It's just that most players prefer...
So they can't use the pride tape?
So I should say this. The rule book, if you look at it officially, says players can use tape of any color. Typically, players tend to use black or white because hockey players and, pride tape, like you said, is rainbow tape, and they could have used it until the NHL put out this directive banning it. Mm-hmm. And now they will be potentially fined if they do use rainbow tape.
Yeah. Let's talk about the reaction to it, though, from around the league.
Yeah, and actually, before we get to the reaction, can we why is this a problem?
Yeah, sure.
This is just another step toward not really making your sport inclusive, right?
Yeah.
The whole reason people played with pride tape was to show support for LGBTQ+.
Yeah.
And this year, they're not allowing the warm-up jerseys because 7 players made a fuss about it last year. And not just pride, you're not allowed to do it for cultural supports that a bunch of teams did, like military nights, hockey fights cancer nights.
All of those have been taken away, right?
Yeah. None of those specialty nights jerseys. And now something that was individual, like tape color, has been banned as well.
Yeah. My biggest gripe with this is for, I think, maybe somewhere between 8 and 10 years, we've had Hockey is for Everyone, the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And now you basically just took a fat shit all over it. Classic NHL like culture. And it's just like, so what was it? Was it all just gaslighting for the past 10 years, the past decade? Was it just like, were you just trying to like rake in some money from the LGBTQ community? Like there are definitely players, in the college system and overseas and just anywhere that's playing professional hockey, there are closeted players. And now how do you think they feel about coming to the NHL?
Yeah, it's just disappointing.
Yes.
Right. And I was thinking about it like, okay, if I was in the mind of one of these executives, right, I understand, I don't agree with it, but I understand where their mind could go in terms of banning the jerseys, right? They're like, okay, these 7 players dominated headlines and we don't like that.
So, bad luck, yeah.
Yeah, so let's just not have the jerseys.
Yeah.
And then the story becomes moot, basically, right?
Disappointing, but expected.
But I get the logic.
Yeah.
I don't get the logic with the tape.
Yeah.
What did you banned the tape? What did you think was going to happen?
Yeah, bro, it's tape.
Just PR wise.
Yeah.
Do you not think this was going to be a story? People are just going to be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And move on?
Yeah.
Or
I mean,
like,
the thing is, like, this is also ties into the reaction, right?
Yeah. If you didn't want it to be a story, you shouldn't have done anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's so many players that reacted to, not just players, but like just general or previous general managers and, presidents and stuff have been like, this is not right. And when you have your own league speaking out on it, and like big name players, Connor McDavid was like, hopefully we reverse this, this ban. That seems like it's more negative publicity than not have banning the tape in the first place.
It was a stupid PR move.
Yes.
Like the jerseys made sense. This one did not make sense at all.
Yeah.
Like it was a stupid PR move.
Yes. Yeah. And to we don't want to get carried away and say that, we're like, it has to be this way or that way. I think both sides are entitled to think whatever they want, believe whatever they want, but to think that there's not going to be consequences to your actions is unbelievable. And clearly there are consequences to these actions. All these players are speaking out on your own league.
And the tape was always individual, right? The jerseys I get is like a team mandate. Yeah. And if someone says it goes against my religion, by law in this country, you have to honor that, right? Yeah.
And the sticks, everyone's got their own stick set up.
Yeah.
Everything.
Like someone else wearing pride tape is not going to, you have no jurisdiction over that.
Yeah.
Right.
If you are, then you got bigger problems to worry about. Yeah.
Yeah. But like someone cannot claim religious, like now I'm going into the, like if we had to go to like down the law route here, right? Someone cannot claim religious discrimination or something because somebody else is using pride tape.
Yeah.
So you just took a non-factor and you made it a factor.
Yeah.
It was a stupid decision.
Yeah.
But so far, what's been really positive is like a lot of the players, like you said, had great comments about it in support of using the pride tape, right? Like, I'm paraphrasing here, but Rasmus Anderson from the Calgary Flames. It's something that's close to my heart and something I would love to support, but it is what it is, and we've got to find other ways to support it. Morgan Riley from the Toronto Maple Leafs. Whatever statement was made is fine, but as players, we're going to continue to offer support and be allies. We want to be part of this community. Brian Burke, who is a former general manager and is now president of the PWHL Players Association, the Women's League. This is not inclusion or progress. Fans look to teams and the league to show that they are welcome, and this directive closes a door that's been open for the last decade. Make no mistake, this is a surprising and serious setback.
Yeah.
What was also cool is he talked to reporter Chris Johnson, who has his own podcast, and on that podcast, Johnson mentioned that Burke would be putting up money for any players that get fined for using pride tape.
That's awesome. I didn't know about that until right now. That's awesome. Yeah.
And I skipped a bunch of other players that made statements. Connor McDavid, like you said, Zach Hyman, Anthony Duclair, Brad Marchand, John Merrill, Jack Hughes, all in support of using pride tape and against this directive.
Yeah. And something I want to mention about that, these are all players that are coming from, they're different ethnicities, different like economic backgrounds, different walks of life. All of them are coming together against
different
this.
Teams.
Yeah, different teams. They're all coming against this and saying, this is messed up.
Yeah.
And as the NHL, as Gary Bettman, I would be feeling some sort of pit in my stomach for doing this.
Yeah. Like, I can't even justify it like from a financial sense.
No.
You weren't losing money on Pride Tape.
No, this is just,
Yeah. So I don't know, man.
It's disappointing to say the least. But again, to end on a positive, clearly there's resistance to this. And we have, the NHL is full of people who know right from wrong and are saying, screw the consequences. We will take the fine if that means we're getting, like, if we're still going to support what we actually believe in. And, good for them. I think that's how it should be. Because if, like you said, this is not financially beneficial to the NHL. This is not good for PR. And the players are just doing as they please. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So whether the consequences are there or not. So at least they're standing up for what they believe in.
Yeah, and I hope a couple months from now, when all the teams are doing their Pride nights and things like that, that these players stick up to it and we'll use the tape.
Yeah.
I want to see that all across the NHL this year.
Yeah.
But I have hope for that one.
Yeah. And the thing is, the point we're trying to make is stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. And, hopefully we'll see that happen here, regardless of what side you're on. If you don't want to support the Pride nights, fine. Don't act like there's no consequences. If you want to just suddenly ban Pride Tape, don't act like there's consequences, Yeah. Just stand for what you believe in and keep going. And it's good to see that is still occurring in the NHL.
Yeah. I think we'll end on that note.
Yeah, that's a good way to end it. Yeah.
This has been Glass Seats. We're out every week. You can catch us on Apple, Spotify, Google. We're also on YouTube and Instagram. For YouTube and Instagram, the handle is at Spud Network Podcast. So you can check out this show and you can check out our other shows. Mm-hmm. If you can leave us a like, comment, subscribe, follow, whatever it is on whatever platform you listen to us, helps us grow the show. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.
Peace.